I want to thank everybody first and foremost for joining us right before our deep sea fishing trip. This is the fourth webinar that we've done. We do webinars every Wednesday for different use cases with Rubrik. And if you jump on a webinar, we have exciting events that we're running in Houston, and we have a deep sea fishing trip that we're doing for our customers tomorrow, just to, work hard and play hard. So with that, we'll jump right into it. But before we do, I want to introduce my better half, my engineer. So Dwayne, if you could introduce yourself real quick.
Good morning, everyone. Dwayne McCoy, Houston, SC, live in Katy, and happy to be here.
Excellent. We'll appreciate that, Dwayne. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Alan Thornton. I cover commercial select accounts here in Houston. So I'm the regional sales manager. And today we have a special sponsor, which is ServiceNow. You can go to the next slide, Dwayne. And we're going to show some integration with ServiceNow. So I'm going to do a brief overview of Rubrik, and then Dwayne's going to actually show you just our software, our interface, how simple it is to use, and some integrations with ServiceNow. So we're going to be probably about 25 to 30 minutes. We'll get you out of here real quick and get you some good information, follow up with next steps. Sound good? Excellent. So there's a few things. If you have a question, if you go down to the chat box below and raise your hand, we can answer those. I'm going to kind of speed through this, and we'll have a short section at the end to go through questions. So just a little bit about us, who we are, what we do. And for those of you that don't know me, a lot of you may know me from a past life at EMC. I spent about 4 years there. I've been the last 2 years selling ERP software and mission critical applications for a company called Infor, and I also sold HCM software. So that's kind of a brief snapshot of my career. A lot of us have been in IT, many on this call, more and a lot longer than I have. But some of the huge trends that we've seen in IT, we've seen over the last, call it 15 to 20 years, virtualization. For a while, it was the #1 return on investment in IT. We saw things like Flash and performance, delivering applications and performance faster to the business, hyperconvergence, consolidating your vendors, having one throat to choke for support over the last 3 to 5 years. But if we look at backup and recovery, not much has changed. And we're talking in the last 30 years. Nothing has really changed except the advent of deduplication. And when I was at EMC, we had Data Domain. It was a very good product. But I mean, that's it as far as anything that's been invented in that space. So there's still a lot of different vendors here. There's a lot of complexity. So what we've done is we've helped take all these different silos and vendors and consolidate it into one easy to use, simple 2U appliance that scales up, scales out, and it's software defined. So you can go to the public cloud, you can go out to the private cloud. And the good thing is you have investment protection because you can mix, you can match nodes, and there's no forklift upgrades. So if we talk about how it works, and this is different than what you're used to with other platforms.
Hey, Alan, I hate to steer you off a little bit, but since this was a ServiceNow, I removed the majority of
how it works. Okay.
ServiceNow. Okay. It focused more on API and automation.
Okay, so, no worries. I'll go through the last few ones. That's a little bit about Rubrik. So I'll just talk a little bit about how it works, the 2U appliance, and then I'll just hand it over to you, Dwayne.
Perfect.
So when we look at how it works, the big and the key differentiators for us at Rubrik is, one, it's we consolidate everything. So you look at a TCO, we're able to usually save our customers probably 20 to 50% when you talk about everything, total cost, not just price, right? When you look at what you're paying in all those different silos, When you update everything, it's very little professional services. It's not a long engagement, and unless you're going to another managed service provider, and we have a lot of partners that can help do that. But it's plug and play. We auto discover everything right away. So you plug it in, it learns your environment. No more backup windows, no more backup jobs. You kind of set it and forget it. It's kind of like a Nest thermostat. You put it in your environment, it learns your environment, and it just automatically adjusts to your policies and procedures. We have cloud on and cloud out, right? So cloud out is archive, cloud on is spinning up workloads in the cloud. We have, and I'll tell you just a quick few customer stories because I know we have just a few minutes and we're going to talk about ServiceNow, but we had the way we index data is a lot different than other platforms. We do a full backup right up front and an incremental forever. So right when you plug it in, you're going to be able to back up workloads within 30 minutes. And then after that first full's done, it's like a Google like search functionality where you can find everything you need in there at the file level. And that's very different. And it's all done in Flash. So you can recover things very rapidly. So we had a customer in San Antonio, Frost Bank, and it was taking them about 10 hours to back up their SQL environment. They put Rubrik in, and we were able to back that window down to about 4 minutes. I mean, incredible, just with our solution. Another big one we're hearing, a lot of us have heard about the city of Atlanta. Ransomware is rapid right now. And we had another customer who bought Rubrik in Louisiana, one of the largest hospitals down there. And they got hit with ransomware. It's going to cost them almost $1 million every single hour to, be down. And they were going to ask them for an outrageous sum of money to unlock that. What we were able to do is go back to the last unaffected backup, right? We were able to unlock the crypto lock and have them back up and running in 15 minutes. So you hear about little stories like that. That's the power of Rubrik. Our architecture is different. Go to that next slide, Dwayne, and then I'll hand it over to you. So our architecture is different because it's optimized for the cloud. Here's your data center today, and we just scale out, right, into a easy to use two-year appliance to the cloud provider of your choice. So that's a high-level overview about Rubrik. I will hand it over to Dwayne to show you and talk to you about the ServiceNow integration.
Thanks, Alan. So one of the key differentiators between us and a lot of our competitors, or the more specifically the legacy providers, is our API first architecture. We were built from the ground up, RESTful. So everything we do is API driven. So what does that mean for you or for customers? It's two things. Number one is automation. And the ability to automate your entire workflow. And so that's where not just API first, but more of a ServiceNow type scenario comes in, where most customers that are looking at ServiceNow are looking for workflow-based procedures to where they can automate everything from help desk calls to backups to recoveries to protection. And so how does that fit in with us? And so with us being API first, purely from the ground up, it gives you the ability with not only ServiceNow, but Ansible, Chef, Puppet, any automation type technology we fit in with seamlessly. There's no extra steps that need to be taken. There's no plugins or anything like that. And so you can essentially automate the entire workflow, and that does not just include protecting your data. That take VMware, for example, to where you need to add a VM to vCenter, and you have certain policies and procedures that you go through. That's all built into ServiceNow, into your workbooks. We integrate into that perfectly well. Uh, and so instantaneous app delivery and app services. So you get analytics, you get search, test, dev, archiving, DR, backup, anything that you can traditionally do manually can be automated with ServiceNow. So take things like I said just a second ago. So you've got simple VM delivery where you have a workbook in ServiceNow that deploys virtual machines. You can bring us into that whole entire playbook and automate that process to where we're automatically assigned to SLAs. And so if anyone joined, I think maybe 2 weeks ago when I showed how SLAs work, all of that can be automated. So very brief on PowerPoint here, and I'll get in and show you what the actual interface looks like. So here's a couple screenshots. And so it can be purely a Rubrik driven automation to where you allow user self-service recovery all the way down to, like I said, that initial deployment of a VM that is automatically protected within Rubrik. And so in summary, from what Alan covered as well as what I covered, some of the key benefits, it's easy to deploy. Alan hit on that really well from a simplicity standpoint. You can be up and running in a matter of hours, not days. And that's through auto discovery, no plugins or anything like that. Simple to scale. It scales out. So we are not a scale up solution. We are a scale out solution. And there's a key difference there. And I'll pick on data domain just because I was a data domain customer. Data domain is scale up. You have a controller with disk behind it. As you grow, you add disk and you eventually reach a certain point where you can no longer grow that controller. You have to rip and replace. We do not do that. We scale out, and it's a headless cluster. Very simple to scale. And lower TCO, Alan covered that as well. It's not cost. He kind of glazed over that, but it's so critical. It's not cost. It's total ownership. You know, if you look at the cost of just buying one of our competitors, just a piece of software, that doesn't encompass the entire project. So you have to look at the entire TCO. And that's where you realize this, you know, up to 50% savings in the long run. And so that covers that. So we're not just a data protection. We're backup recovery. We're disaster recovery, archival and compliance, copy data management. Search is one of our big things. We're one global namespace. So no matter where your data lives, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, it's a single interface, and you can search that entire headless cluster no matter where it lives. And then data analytics. We see all your data, so we can provide you the analytics and the deep information about how your data is changing and growing.
So hold on real quick on that slide. Dwayne, real quick, can you go back one? I want everybody to really understand this. Unfortunately, being in Houston, a lot of us felt the pain of knowing that we had a backup and recovery solution, but many of us realized, and customers, friends, that we didn't have true disaster recovery and couldn't spin it up, and when our data centers were underwater last year. So it's important to really have both. So, I mean, definitely wanted to touch on that.
Yeah. And we covered that last week with the cloud and the instantiation and things like that. And if anybody on the call wants to know more about the we'll call it the DR side of things in the cloud, just let us know. And we can certainly get together one-on-one and talk about that. But that covers everything I wanted to show from a PowerPoint point of view. Let me stop sharing and switch over and show you guys what the ServiceNow interface looks like. Let's see. All right, Alan, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, cool. So there's not much to show on the Rubrik end of this. This is more about the ServiceNow side. And so if the folks on the phone, if you have not seen ServiceNow, I'm not going to go into the functionality as far as setting up and things like that. But so this is a real live ServiceNow account. And so typically when you log in, you're going to end up on whatever dashboard you have set up. And so you build what's called service catalogs. And so that is the the customer or user facing piece of what you get with ServiceNow. And so anything from automating help desk tickets to fully deploying virtual machines, all can be automated with ServiceNow. And so if you go into your service catalogs, in you're a Rubrik customer, ServiceNow customer, you will have a tab under your catalogs just for Rubrik. So when you go into that, you get your list of catalogs. And again, you can build any type of workflow that you want. And so one of the more common / complex workflows, we'll call it, is deploying a virtual machine, taking that virtual machine, putting it in a specific cluster, building it the way you want it, and then protecting it with a specific Rubrik SLA. You know, how many people will that take in a traditional environment? You know, you've got your storage guys that need to carve out storage. You've got your virtualization engineers that need to get into VMware and create VMs. So you've got 3 or 4 different people that it may require to do it. So if you automate that with ServiceNow, and before I show you how it functions, here's how you build it. I've already got the tab open. And so let's see, let me scroll down. Rubrik, here it is. And so this is the actual diagram, and that is not the one I wanted. Sorry about that. Must have clicked on the wrong one. Let's see. Create VM and assign SLA. There it is. So this is a workflow, and hopefully everyone can see it. And it's a very simple layout. You know, it's in this one, instead of creating a new VM, we're just cloning one, but it's the same theory. And so you can clone it, and when you get down here, it checks to see. It waits on Rubrik to discover the VM within vCenter through an API call. And it's pretty simple, yes or no. If it's no, it waits and it comes back up and checks again. Once it's yes, it runs a script on the Rubrik that assigns it to the SLA that you've told it to, and it ends. And it's that simple. So from a user standpoint, when you go over here, there's several, we've got, 8 or 9 service catalogs already built. And so it's as simple as take an on-demand snapshot all the way down to request a live mount. So again, you can, a user can request a live mount, or a DBA can request a live mount of a SQL database, for example. Or you can even delete Rubrik clusters. So we'll go here, create VM and assign an SLA. You go to it, so you enter a name for the new VM. So we'll call it test for ServiceNow. What Rubrik cluster? So if you have multiple clusters, you can select which one you want it to go on. I'll leave it on 3, and then so you'll notice here that this matches what the Rubrik SLAs have. And so we'll go through and choose an SLA. If you have a custom built one, they'll all show up in here as well. I'll just go ahead and do gold, and you hit order now. And it is done. So within 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, everything will be complete, and you can go through and you can monitor it. You can monitor it from one of 2 places. You can either monitor it through the request number within ServiceNow, or you can monitor it from within the Rubrik, and I believe this is number 3. Yeah, so you can go through and you can create, or you can monitor it from either aspect. Most of the time, if you're giving your users access to ServiceNow, you're not going to give them access to the Rubrik. And so they can monitor that service catalog through the ServiceNow interface. And when it's done, it'll notify them that the ticket has been closed. And that's kind of the 30,000-foot view. Alan, do we want to open it for questions or anything? We've got about 7 minutes left.
Anybody have any questions? What I'll do is I'll open it.
I'll mute myself out unless there's a question, and I'll unmute.
Let's see. You can just go down to chat. and ask any questions that you may have. You must be doing a great job, Dwayne. We have no questions.
That's good to hear. Well, that covers my piece of it. It's pretty simple. It's very powerful yet simple. So if anyone needs anything or wants to see a more in-depth demo where we're not limited by 30 minutes, let us know, and we will accommodate whatever it is you need.
So if we have a few more minutes, Dwayne, can you just show them just a few of the sizzle things in Rubrik, since we have a little bit extra time?
Sure. I'll do the most, probably the biggest thing that makes people say, wow. And you talked about it earlier in the fact that we do not schedule. We do SLAs. And so they're called SLA domains for those of you that do not know. So the way you create an entire, we'll call it grandfather, father, son schedule, that historically would take you, 30 minutes and it's a, multi-step process. I'll show you how we do it. So you click the little plus here, you give it a name, and you answer a couple questions. So I want to do a snapshot, let's say every 4 hours. I'm going to keep it for a day. I'm going to do a daily, keep it for 7 days, do a monthly, keep it for a year, do a yearly, keep it for 10, and hit create. So I have now, oops, I missed the button. I have now created an SLA that does a traditional grandfather, father, son with 4-hour snapshots. And it is right here in less than 20 seconds. And there is no other product out there that can say that. But let's make it even more complicated just for the heck of it. So go into that SLA, and let's say I want to archive to a cloud provider, Amazon or Azure, either one, it doesn't matter. So go back into that SLA, you click edit. So let's say I want to keep everything on the Rubrik for 30 days. And then after that, I want it to go to AWS. So I'm going to click configure remote. I'm going to turn on archiving. I'm going to drag my slider to 30 days. And I am going to choose my location. We'll go to S3 and I'm going to hit edit. So now I've added archive to that whole entire schedule as well. And it was, again, that took less than 30 seconds to do. And so you can create as many SLAs as you want, and you can make them business related or business unit related, whatever meets your business needs. It's that simple. And so that covers our scheduling. And we still have 6 minutes left, so I need to do something else. That's awesome. So coming back over, so first of all, everything is all HTML5, so there's no agent, there's no Java. Sorry for you Java lovers out there, but we do not do Java. Wait on my dashboard to load here so I can give you a little brief overview of what you get when you first log into the Rubrik interface. So you get a dynamic summary of what's going on. Some of the critical key points to your data protection world can all be seen on this one screen. How many VMs you're protecting, and notice it says vSphere, so you can choose the drop down. You can break it down by hypervisor or workload. You look down here towards the middle, 32,000 snapshots with an 81% data reduction, and that's all sitting on one node, or one brick, I should say. And again, this is all dynamic. Look at the activity. It's continuously updating, so you're getting live feedback of what's going on. Reporting. A lot of people want to know about reporting, so we have an open report writer. There's some canned reports, but you can go to the gallery and create your own reports, your own automated compliance reports that basically can sum up your entire compliance scenario from a data protection automatically for you. It will email them to you. You can have them create PDFs and go to a share. You have the flexibility. And again, you can script your reporting and information as well. So you can have a report built, then you can create a PowerShell script that will go and pull that report on a schedule for you. Again, very automation friendly. Back to that whole ServiceNow theme. That, Alan,
Nope, that's good. We like to keep these short and sweet. I know we have a lot of integrations. We do these every week with a different use case. For those of you that are going deep sea fishing with us tomorrow, the boat leaves tomorrow at 9 a.m. So you definitely want to be there a little early. Get your fishing license before at Academy or Walmart. You can also get it there, but you definitely want to be a little early. I'll be there probably about 7:45, 8. We'll have plenty of drinks, plenty of food, and plenty of fish, which is a good thing. So if you need anything, feel free to reach out. I will send everybody an email after this, and we look forward to the next call. Dwayne, anything you want to add?
hope you guys have fun fishing since I won't be there.
We'll do another one, Dwayne.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Have a great
Yes,
rest
have a
of the
great
week.
day. Thank you.